Okay, everybody, we are going to breaking news here where a police officer was shot in Chicago. Getting an update here right now.
Our fourth officer in 2 weeks was shot. He's here at Mount Sinai Hospital being treated for a non-life-threatening wound. We would ask the public to keep this officer and his family in your prayers. What happened on this incident at 4 p.m. is that there was a shoplifting, according to preliminary reports, and the suspect got into a struggle with a loss prevention officer at the Home Depot in this area. This resulted in this offender shooting this loss prevention security person, and that person is in grave condition right now. The suspect then flees, and officers are called and pursue this suspect. The initial officer that pursues this suspect is then almost immediately shot. The officer is being treated now. We are not releasing his name until family members are notified and able to come visit here at the hospital. But this officer is shot and he's down. Other officers tend to him, get him to the hospital, while other officers continue pursuing this suspect. This suspect and officers get into another shootout, and the offender is then shot. This offender has recently been pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. He's DOA at the hospital, so the offender is deceased. And we are continuing this investigation. This is very preliminary information. Things could change. This has just recently happened. Our detectives are on scene, talking to as many witnesses as possible. But let me close with this before we take questions. This is the fourth officer shot in 2 weeks. And I get questions all the time about what is the department doing about violence? What are we doing about the shootings? What are we doing about the homicides? What we are doing is risking our lives every day to protect this city. That's what we're doing. And the brave, courageous men and women of Chicago Police Department are unmatched, the most talented department in the country. But we are not without flaws. But this is done with great risk. And officers every day put their lives on the line. And God blesses the men and women of the Chicago Police Department. Now I'll take questions.
Which hospital was the offender taken to?
I don't know which hospital yet. Any other questions?
Is the officer's injuries, where he was struck, is he going to need surgery? And is it a male officer?
It is a male officer. He is going to require additional treatment, surgery likely. Right now, he's just initially being x-rayed to figure out what course of action, and we'll update you on his condition.
Where on his body he was hit?
He's shot in the shoulder.
Shot in the shoulder? Just
Yeah.
one time?
We don't know that. Any other questions?
Were there other incidents at that Home Depot, shoplifting, things like that? Was it a known kind of?
No, we don't know anything about the history of the Home Depot. We know this was a shoplifting apparently from preliminary reports. That may change, but there was some interaction with loss prevention there at the Home Depot where this loss prevention officer was shot and is in grave condition.
Name of the suspect?
Yeah, let's get her and then we'll get you.
How upset are you? I mean, the fourth officer in a matter of 2 weeks. I mean, how do you talk about this with the force?
You know, from a broad perspective, men and women in law enforcement all across the country are under attack. The officer in Boulder, Colorado, Officer Talley, recently lost his life trying to save people who were involved in an active shooter, and so many people died there. But here in Chicago, it's like you mentioned, it's the idea that, you know, cops are putting their lives on the line every day, and it seems that these offenders are acting with impunity in the way not only do they shoot at each other, but they're, you know, basically loss of respect for law enforcement. And yet, with hypercriticism, officers continue to run toward danger. And I can't say enough of how much courage and bravery it takes to run toward bullets when others would cower and quit and run the opposite way. These men and women run toward danger to protect this city. Question?
The name of the suspect, can you also tell me if the suspect has had other run-ins with law enforcement?
It's too early to have that information. As soon as we have additional information about this offender, we'll release it to you.
Have you seen the officer?
No other officers heard at this point. Yes.
Have you seen the officer and spoken with him?
I have seen the officer, spoken with him, and as soon as we get the family notified and hear and check on their loved one, we'll release as much information about him as we can.
What did he have to say to you?
He seemed to be in good spirits, but again, being shot is no, light thing to digest. So again, we want to ask that the public keep this officer in their prayers and his family.
How long has he been with the department?
We don't know all that yet. As soon as we know, we'll release it to you. Any other questions? Real quick.
Any message to the public? What are you doing to learn from this situation?
So one of the things that I'd like to convey to the public is that these officers are committed and dedicated to protecting this city. And they do anything, all things, including risking their lives every day to protect this city.
We'll update you on the men's.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.